My inebriated Uber passengers judged my job and my accent until they needed my help. I'd been driving Uber for 6 months after losing one of my favorite patients, needing something mindless to do between shifts. At 2 in the morning, I picked up 4 college kids from a frat party, one of them bleeding from his hand wrapped in a bar towel that was already soaked through. They didn't know that in 3 hours I'd be starting my shift as head of trauma surgery at the exact hospital they'd asked me to drive to. The bleeder, who his friends called Chris, slumped into my back seat while his buddy Josh got in front, immediately cranking my radio and laughing at my accent when I asked him to keep pressure on his friend's wound. "Relax, Abdul," he said, reading my name card wrong on purpose. "It's just a little cut from a beer bottle. You probably don't even know what a hospital is where you're from. Just drive and let us handle the medical stuff." My stomach clenched as I noticed the blood pooling too fast for a surface wound, recognizing the rhythmic spurting that meant arterial involvement, but I stayed quiet because arguing would delay getting him care, and I couldn't examine him properly while driving. Josh found my prayer beads hanging from the mirror and started swinging them around, asking if I thought they'd magically heal his friend. When I reached for them, he held them away and said, "What, you need these to find the hospital? Just follow the GPS like a good little driver." He tossed them in the back where they landed in Chris's blood, ruining the keepsake my mother had given me before she died. He started going through my glove compartment without asking. "Look at this. He's got picture books about bodies," he announced, holding up my surgical review quarterly, probably trying to learn English from the diagrams. "Hey driver, can you even read these big words?" I gritted my teeth and kept driving, calculating that Chris had maybe 30 minutes before blood loss became critical, but when I tried to speed up, Josh grabbed the wheel and jerked it. "Slow down, terrorist. You're not in some third world country where traffic laws don't exist. We'll rate you 1 star if you drive like a maniac." Chris started getting pale and confused, classic signs of hypovolemic shock, and when I adjusted my mirror to watch him, the third friend Jackson assumed I was staring at them suspiciously. "Stop watching us, creep," he said, then found my hospital ID badge that had fallen between the seats. "St. Mary's Hospital janitor," he said without really looking at it. "Mops floors all day, then pretends to be a taxi driver at night." Josh started asking me medical questions mockingly, like whether I knew what blood was, and if they had real doctors where I came from. When I didn't answer, focused on taking the fastest route while monitoring Chris's deteriorating breathing, he took my silence as proof I was stupid. Can't even answer basic questions. This is why immigrants shouldn't have jobs that require talking to real Americans. Chris suddenly vomited blood all over my backseat, and his friends just laughed and said I'd have fun cleaning that up. Josh actually pulled out his phone to film it, saying this would be great content about the worst Uber ride ever. He zoomed in on my face in the mirror, narrating how I looked constipated and probably didn't understand what was happening. I could see Chris's jugular vein distending, indicating his blood pressure was dropping dangerously. But when I tried to tell them their friend needed immediate help, Jackson mocked my accent by repeating everything I said in an exaggerated voice. "Your friend needs help," he screamed. "Maybe in your country people die from paper cuts, but Americans are tougher than that." Josh started 1-star reviewing me out loud while I drove, reading each word as he typed about how I smelled like curry and couldn't speak English and was probably a terrorist. He said he'd report me for human trafficking because I looked suspicious, then showed Jackson the review before submitting it. Chris's breathing became agonal, the gasping pattern I'd seen hundreds of times in trauma bay, and I finally pulled over despite their protests. When I got out to check on him, Josh shoved me back and said, "Don't touch him with your dirty hands. You probably don't even wash them. We're almost at the hospital where real doctors work." I opened the back door anyway and saw Chris's radial pulse was gone, meaning he'd lost at least 30% of his blood volume. The wound had lacerated the radial artery deeper than they'd realized. I grabbed the belt from my pants and started making a tourniquet, but Jackson punched me in the shoulder and pulled me away. "Get off him, you psycho. You're probably making it worse with your taxi driver medical knowledge," Josh screamed, but then Chris went completely limp, his eyes rolling back as he lost consciousness. "He's not breathing right," Jackson said, his drunk confidence finally cracking. I pushed past them and felt Chris's carotid pulse, finding it thready and rapid at 140, then noticed his trachea deviating left, indicating tension pneumothorax from aspirated blood. Without thinking, I pulled out my keys and the pen from my clipboard, ready to perform an emergency needle decompression. "What are you doing?" Josh screamed, filming everything. "You're going to kill him with a Bic pen, you insane foreign freak." "I'm the head of trauma surgery at St. Mary's," I said, already sterilizing my keys with hand sanitizer. "Your friend has a collapsed lung from aspirated blood and about 90 seconds before cardiac arrest. You can let me save him or explain to his parents why you stopped me." Josh's phone clattered to the ground as all 3 of them stared at my hospital ID that had fallen face up, showing my title clearly, Dr. Rashid Hassan, Chief of Trauma Surgery. Full story on the channel below.